The Wilderness Podcast. I am back. It is Matt. I am here in Austria. Dilz, it is not herbivore. That's like a koala. Herblore is the lore of herbs, which are plants, and also the H isn't pronounced at the beginning.
Hello and welcome to episode 233 of the Wilderness Podcast. I am Dilz and joined as always, Heartless. Hello.
Yo, what's up, Dilz?
Oh, it is a big week for a few reasons. We got some fun things to talk about. We got a little bit of an update on forestry. We got a little bit of an update on unique account builds. And we have a special surprise coming at the end of this month, which I was not expecting. They're going to show us the skills that we're going to be able to vote on for this new skill we're going to get. They're going to pitch 3 ideas to us at the end of the month. What do you think about that?
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm curious to see what they're going to come up with.
It seems really soon. I was not expecting. I thought we would be hearing about it like in a couple months, like June or something. But here we are, March, and they say we're going to hear about it at the end of the month. So they have some ideas.
Yeah, I reckon they want to sort of solidify the path that they need to take, because I'm sure there's lots of work to be done no matter which direction they decide to go in or the community decides.
Yeah, that's so true. Do you think you could guess any of the 3 skills that might be coming out?
No, maybe archaeology might be one of them.
That's a good one. Yeah, it's an interesting point where you said that they're going to pitch the 3 so they can figure out what direction they're going to go. So here's my pitch. I think we're going to see sailing for like a dungeoneering slayer combat type of skill. So sailing being one. I think warding or tailoring, because they're kind of the same thing, but warding was a skill they pitched before, which was kind of like a fletching, crafting sort of skill. I think they're going to rework that and bring that one back out. And I think I agree. I think it's going to be an archaeology might be the 3rd because it's in RuneScape 3. And a big part of it is that it's supposed to tell a lot about the story and history of the game. It's very lore focused. I don't really know much about the skill, but people seem to love it. So that one would be, so you got the combat, you got the gathering, crafting sort of skill, and then archaeology might be more of like a unique way of going with it. It might have some gathering, crafting elements, but
yeah,
it might be a little bit more about exploration.
Engineering would be another one they could come up with something like that.
Damn, that is a good one.
That would be like multifaceted. I think whatever they do, look, I've said this last time, half the skills in this game kind of suck and don't have a lot of point to them. Like, sure, agility, you run around and stuff. Fire making, herblore, even like, yeah, you make potions, but it's not very exciting. There's a bunch of skills that just are kind of boring to train, or they don't have a lot of depth to them. I think whatever comes out, I'm sure is going to be probably one of the best skills in the game, just because they get to design it from the ground up.
That's cool. It's really exciting. It's crazy to see that, to think that we're actually going to get one. Like, even if some of the ideas don't work, I think they're going to keep coming at it until a skill comes into the game.
Yeah, I think we're ready. We're ready for it. I think the community-based approach is the only way that it would ever come into the game. And I think they realized that after the last 3 failed. So this is just a great way to have the community on board and really just use us as a tool. And it's not like getting our approval. It's like working with us, and it's a refreshing approach from them.
Yeah, collaboration.
I say basically since Next came out, collaboration has been really impressive. And I've been pretty happy with the direction, or like the community-based direction they've gone in.
It is nice to see. Sometimes they don't always hit the mark, but I feel like the revisions always are on point. Like we see with a lot of the graphical designs, so many times the first, Missouri or Justiciar are the first that come to mind. They were pretty bad when the first proposal of what it's going to look like.
First iteration.
Yeah, it wasn't great. But then the next ones were awesome.
So, I mean, if you just take that exact concept and just apply it to something larger. So let's say their first iteration isn't always the best. So now you go and send a 4-man, mod team to go and work on whatever. Like, let's say they're working on a new skill and they come up with this huge proposal and it takes them 8 months or something to come up with like all the work that they're going to need to do it. Is it viable, et cetera, et cetera. And then the community's like, yeah, we hate that. That's basically what's happened for more or less for the last 3 attempts. So this one is more like, okay, do you want a skill? Yeah, okay, let's build it together. I think it's just a way better way to go about it with our community anyways.
Yeah, and sailing came pretty close. I think it was in the 70s, but or like maybe 69 or something.
Yeah, I wasn't really around back then. Like, that was a really long time ago now.
Yeah, I wasn't playing enough to actually vote on it or care a whole lot, but I was there, I guess.
What, 2017? 2017-ish?
I think even earlier. Maybe, yeah, I think 2014. Let's check.
I think I started playing in 2018, so it was before my time. Warding was the only one. Warding was the only one I have on record. I guess Artisan was in there too. That one just like failed so hard. Sailing seemed like the best of the 3 options, but that doesn't mean that I necessarily want it to be pitched for a direction coming up.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm curious to see what they come up with.
Mm-hmm. But it's a great segue. It has been a long road indeed. I mentioned earlier this was going to be a special episode, but I shouldn't say special. People are going to get too hyped up. But Old School RuneScape turned 10 years old last week.
Crazy.
That's friggin' nuts. Old school, not RuneScape. Old school RuneScape. RuneScape's like 22 years old at this point or something. Yeah, that is wild. I don't think I would have ever thought this game would have lasted 10 years, but here it is. And not only has it lasted 10 years, it is stronger than it ever has been. Like, the player counts it's like continuously growing.
Yeah, I see it lasting another 10, no problem.
Unbelievable. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to reflect on kind of like our accounts or like the time we've spent playing this game. I know you started in 2018. Do you remember what like the first major update was that you were actually paying attention to?
First major update. Maybe the first major update where I was like, wow, this is big for me was the Farming Guild.
Oh, cool.
Because I loved the Farming Guild. Farming Guild and Konar and kind of just like the Kebos Lowlands expansion. I remember that one quite vividly. I was like, man, this is fun getting some new content. I love the Farming Guild. I still think it's one of my favorite updates. Maybe because it's, nostalgic. It was one of my first big ones. But yeah, that's one that sticks out to me.
It is a great update. It came like a whole lot of like the area that came with it is huge. I'm going to look at it right now. Yeah, it's a massive piece of land. The Farming Guild, Mount Carulum. We got the Kebos Lowlands because that was all like blacked out before, I think, or something was up with it, but
there was like nothing there. It was just empty. You get Konar as well. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
It's a really fun area to explore. Yeah, it's pretty neat. So I know when you started, you played as a main account.
Yeah.
What year was it when you started playing your Iron?
2019. Summer of 2019.
About a year later.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've mentioned it before, but what was the tipping point that made you quit the main and play the Iron?
I was learning Chambers. So about like maybe 10 or 11 months into my account, I'd gotten to raids finally, which was all I'd wanted to do. And my brother-in-law plays, and he's an Iron Man, and he was teaching me. And we were with this other guy, and the other guy he ripped a T-bow, pulled the T-bow. I didn't even know what a purple light meant. Like that's how little I knew. Like purple means you have a unique. So this guy pulls a T-bow, and it was my 4th kill, like my 4th KC. I think I was deathless. Like I'd learned to not die. So I mean, it was pretty easy going for me, but still, man, I was like, dude, I just got it. So I got 500 mil. And before that, I had like maybe 50, 60 mil. So I basically bought not max gear, but I bought great gear. And then it just turned into moneyscape for me very quickly. And I was like, dude, I just got rich too fast, but it was a blessing in disguise because I always kind of knew like when I was bored of the main, I would start an Iron because I see people playing them, and they look like so much more fun. And I kind of want to just explore everything RuneScape has to offer. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going all in. I never even logged back into the main. As soon as I got on the iron, never logged back in. I use it as a money alt and a scouting alt now, and that's it.
Wow, that is that's nuts. Did you feel like this could sound like a real question, but I know it's something that I dealt with. Did you ever have like an identity, not to say identity crisis, but did you have a hard time letting go of playing your main account and transferring over to like an Iron Man play style?
No, absolutely not. I hated it immediately. As soon as I got the money, I was like, no, I hate this. Isn't for me. Like I had the 500 mil. I told you I tried to do some forecast, and then that same weekend I got a skeletal visage. So I'd gotten like giga lucky that week. And it's still just like it wasn't for me. I was like, man, this isn't gonna work out. I'm not gonna enjoy this game if I keep playing this way. So I just totally switched it up. I was like, I'm going all Iron Man, all in. And yeah, it's gonna take me a while to get back to raids and be able to go with my friends. But I was like, you know what? I know how to raid, and they were kind of just starting to learn at that time. So they were able to take me with like garbage gear, and Dragon Simi and stuff. I remember those days very fondly. So no, it was not hard for me at all. But I know some people do have a hard time. Maybe if they're further progressed than I was. I was only a year into my account. It was like 1850 total, so I didn't have too many 99s. There wasn't that sort of sunk cost fallacy that there was there for other people, where you've put so much time into something, so why should you abandon it?
I know a lot of people are like that.
The sunken cost fallacy, that's a classic. It happens for like relationships or like anything, but I've always had a easy time cutting through that, because if I'm not happy or not enjoying something, I'm just switch it up.
You're smarter than I am sometimes. I was in this really bad relationship for like 7 years, and I was just like, this is my life now. This is it. I'm going to have to find happiness elsewhere. Like I literally was like, this is it. And then she cheated on me, which was like the best thing she ever did for me. It was
that's really rough. I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh no, I mean it's great now. I'm glad, because I literally couldn't figure out how to like get out of it, and I was when I say literally, I mean it in the proper way. I thought like this was my life. I'm just gonna have to deal with this for the next 50 years until one of us gets old and dies.
Oh my god, that's tough, and a lot of people are that way. But I mentioned like I wasn't enjoying my school and stuff, right? Like recently, I ended up going to see like a counselor, a counselor to just help like work through my thoughts and stuff. And man, it was so helpful. I did 5-6 sessions, learned a lot about myself, and yeah, I'd highly recommend it to anyone.
I agree. That's something that I'm actually thinking about restarting again. I've been finding myself at work, like in important meetings, doing presentations and stuff. And I get a lot of anxiety when I have to speak in front of people. Even if it's like a group of people that like my coworkers or clients that I've spoken to a bunch, I get like really nervous sometimes, and I can get flustered and panic, and I have panic attacks sometimes, and I just shut down. It's really hard to deal with when you're like giving a presentation and you're just like freaking out in your head. So anyways, I had this problem where that started happening, and I was like trying to deal with my anxiety while people are like all focused on me. And what I do is I talk in circles while I try to figure out how to get out of this thing in my head. And I spoke to a coworker who was like, you know what you need to do? You just need to take a breath, sit there in silence for like 10 seconds and just work it out, and then jump back into it. But anyways, I was thinking about going back to counseling for just to deal with some of those things. So I was like, I don't know where this came from all of a sudden. Like I do get anxiety, but anyways, this is what I do. I talk in circles.
Yeah, I feel you. Like I just, the first 2 sessions were a little harder, but then we got more into it. And by the end, I was like, we had a very good relationship with men. He said something that stuck with me, and it was just so simple. He's like, because we were talking about I work with kids and how it can be difficult to work with kids because they don't always have control of their lives, etc. Like they don't always know how to express themselves, but adults are a little bit better. At least you can have conversations with them. And he said something to me. He's like, people basically come to me and, they say in some form or another, I don't like my life. And I say, well, then just fucking change it. And he's basically, that's stuck with me. Because like, yeah, that might be like very, very, very hard and there's stuff to work through for some people. But I mean, that's ultimately kind of what it boils down to. So
Yeah.
It's I mean, it was a crass way to put it, but it was just a comment that stuck with me. I was like, man, this yeah, it's good stuff. So anyways, it was an enjoyable experience.
That is good. Just having someone to even help you make some of those changes is super important. Like somebody who's not like invested in your life either.
That's the thing. Like that's what he was there for, is just to guide you through your own thought process. So he's not like picking sides. It just was there to support you, right? So it was just nice to have someone impartial like that to help out, and then like challenge you on certain things too. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah. So anyways, highly recommend. And
that's
it's important to take care of your mental health.
Wow, that was
yeah. Sorry about diving right into that one.
Got heavy there for a minute, but no, that's good. That's good. It's these things happen in RuneScape, which is why it's like my favorite game ever. Well, anyways, yeah, right. Well, RuneScape's an important, just to bring it back to RuneScape, because RuneScape is an important part of our lives. I know, like for me, a lot of it is I enjoy the game, but I'm tied into it for the social part of it. And I know it can get annoying that we're always like, you need to find yourself a little clan. If you're not in a clan, like you should find one. But it's just been nice because even like, you know, you're talking about having someone professional talk about. Sometimes it's just nice to have a community you can just like.
Oh, totally, dude. Just chill out and like not talk about your real life. Just talk about something you both care about, and that's what RuneScape's there for. Yeah,
or even like, yeah, you're dealing with some sort of problem and you have someone to talk to about it. I know I've heard from people that just chatting with some friends on voice chat and Discord, or maybe just talking to people in the clan and talking about maybe they're not enjoying their job and whatever it is. And next thing you know, they've got the motivation to actually go back to school. Or, you know, for me, it was, I think I mentioned it I did like this looking back at the 10 years, but just had some friends who kind of pushed me to talk to this girl I had been really good friends with in high school, kind of always had a crush on her after this really bad relationship. Anyways, now we're together. We live together. We're married. We got a kid.
Oh shit! No way.
Yeah,
I didn't know the origin stories of Dilz Jr.
Well, see, yeah, we knew each other in high school, but then we just kind of drifted apart, and then I got into that really shitty relationship, and then I was going through a really tough time when we broke up, because even though it was a really bad relationship, I guess it was like all I knew, and I have a fear of like just being alone in life.
Yeah, a lot of people have that, dude. It's not uncommon.
Yeah, I know, and it's like I have a really like I think I mentioned it, but I have a really hard time sleeping sometimes. Quite often, I'm not too sure why. And even I don't think I slept for like 4 days because it was just hard to sleep in a bed that was like empty. And anyways, weeks had gone by and I was like feeling better, and I was like in a good spot, and I was feeling very positive, and enough time had passed. I just like moved on, which is kind of crazy because we had been together for so long. And then playing RuneScape one night, talking to some friends and just saying like, oh yeah, I was thinking about talking to this person. And they were like, just do it. Just friggin' do it. And they just friggin' hounded me. Just do it. Like, what do you have to lose? What are you scared of? What's the worst that could happen? Anyways, so that's how that happened. So RuneScape's been pretty pivotal. Yeah, we're getting deep here for a moment. But I want to ask you a little bit more about your Iron Man account since you've been playing it. So we're in the deep end. We're coming back to maybe more shallow, but talking about RuneScape stuff. Do you think were you always super attached, or were you always pulled in to your Iron Man account where you're like super addicted, or did you or is there like a pivotal point where you're playing your Iron and you're like RuneScape is just like sucking you in?
When I followed the basic guide, because I didn't know, where to get like cheese and stuff from to do quests or whatever. So I followed that like OSRS guide to get to Wintertodt, because I like being efficient. It's just who I am as a person. Mm-hmm. So I always knew like I wanted to at least, not be completely lost. So I followed this guide. I got to Wintertodt with a couple quests done. And then he was like, all right, stay until 99 or whatever. And then I closed the guide, never looked at it again. But I did get 99 fire making. And when I pulled the Tome of Fire at like in the mid 80s fire making, jumped on my chair, huge celebration. I've never celebrated that hard. A celly, as we'd call it up here in Canada. Huge celly. Ran down the hall, and I was like, just woo! I was so stoked, dude. Like, it was a Tome of Fire, like just a nothing item. And this is a few weeks after the Twisted Bow had happened. I celebrated in just a different way. Like this was just a different feeling for me. And I was like, man, I'm in now. I'm all in. I'm doing it all.
That was the moment.
And here we are, 1500 KC into next, trying to finish, some of my final items from raids, all this stuff. I'm still going, still having a good time. I just really like the grind. Just like,
has there ever been a moment
items.
where you wanted to like de-iron, or it made you rethink your iron account?
No, I mean, yes and no. I mean, we talked about how like I was not having a good time at Next, maybe in the fall or like the summer, because I was super dry and I was seeing my friends de-iron. So like I understand it. I knew in the back of my mind, like I'm never going to do it, but there are some lows in there for sure. But I've sort of rationalized it as like, look, you don't need to keep going for it. Like it's up to you. Obviously, I know myself. I'm going until I get the full log. And by the way, I pulled the Zerite crossbow, the Nile Horn this weekend. So we're taking along. I was so stoked. I clipped it. It's cringe. So we can listen to it if you want to. But look,
you actually have the clip?
Yeah, I got the clip. It was late at night, so I have to be nice and quiet.
Okay.
I can't remember what my point was, but basically like, yeah, there's highs and lows, but that's just the game mode, and that's what I enjoy about it. So no, I've never wanted to de-iron. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. No.
Interesting. Yeah, I know some people. I know some people who got their iron to the very end, and then they decided to de-iron for one reason or another. And I guess respect them for making that decision. I don't think I ever could. I would be too worried about regretting it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, people say like, oh, you can make. Look, I understand people that do it, fair enough, especially people that are even further along than me. Like, let's say they have all the items and all they're missing is like a Twisted Bow or a Scythe, or they have every single item in the game. I've met some irons who have like literally everything done. They're maxed. They've been maxed for years. They have like 40 pets. They have every item. And they're like, man, all I really want to do now is just speedrun stuff. And I kind of beat the game, so fair enough. They're gonna de-iron, and then that's their choice, right? They've played it for so long. They get to choose. And that's kind of how I approach that situation. For me, I got lots of stuff to do. I'm really enjoying it still, so there's no way it's gonna happen.
I'm sure there is more to come. See, like I feel like my journey was hearing you talk about it. I was like thinking about mine, and it's like it feels really different. Obviously, I've made an iron, but I never got addicted into an iron account. But because I started playing in 2013. I want to say it was the week it came out. I can't remember though, because I probably played it for not much at all. I just remember killing cows. I remember killing the cows by Draenor and Falador, that farming patch. Right, those cows that were there. I remember killing those cows and just thinking like, this kind of sucks, and I just want my old account back. I spent years training it was level 110. But I was like dreading having to train my stats back up because I knew how long it took me the first time. And then I quit. And I just remember quitting. And then I'd come back every now and then for whatever reason. And remember logging back in and at those cows. And then I'd play for maybe a few days or something. And eventually I get bored again. And I just was really on and off for a while. I never really made it too far.
It's interesting saying that because I think it's just personality for me, like personality styles. Like what do you match with more? I've always, no matter if it's RuneScape or, I play a lot of FIFA too, is another game I like. I like just starting with the absolute rock bottom team, absolutely grueling journey to get to the very top. Like that's just what I really like about games. I like making it start hard and like you working your way right to the top. I've always liked games like that.
You are like that because I know we played Magic the Gathering for you still played a ton, but you got me into it, which opened up a whole friggin' can of worms. But anyways, story for another day, I guess. But remember that was your thing. You would have I don't know how many decks do you have for Magic the Gathering?
6 or 7, yeah.
And you just fine tune them over years,
yeah,
right?
You're right. I never really thought about that, but yeah, I've had one deck for 8 years where people chop and change. They play a deck 3 times and they're like, okay, I'm ready for the new one. Whereas I like tuning. I really like to make everything perfect. Maybe it's like a perfectionist in me that likes that part of things, because I think there is a perfectionist in me. You should see my desk at work, dude. It's just completely clean, like all the time.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I got a little stack of papers with the stuff that's going on tomorrow. Like I can be messy, but I always clean it up and like I'm organized like that. That's how my brain works, and I think it connects really well with RuneScape.
I've got 2 mice, PS4 and an Xbox controller. I've got 3 pens and a back scratcher. I've got a bunch of playing cards. I've got a bunch of audio equipment that I don't use anymore.
This is your desk right now.
All on my desk, yeah. It's a big desk though. I got my Google Home sitting here too.
Oh, you got everything. See, my desk is also big. I have my phone and my coffee that I drank this afternoon, and that's it.
I got 2 drinks down here. Oh, I got some bathroom spray because, okay, so my cat is like really, really dumb. And he's like very cute and stuff. I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm just like, I'm saying it like factually. It's a very, very dumb cat.
Okay, I have one of those too.
Yeah. He takes a poop. And by the way, they're huge. He's on this really specific fiber diet because his body just like doesn't function unless he's like anyways. But he'll just like, he'll poop and then he'll walk around and he'll be like, oh, there's a little bit left. I'm just going to squeeze one out right on the floor.
Oh, no.
So I'll come into my office and there'll be like a little friggin' nugget sitting there.
A little nug.
So I have this bathroom spray because he just stinks sometimes. Anyways, yeah, my desk is pretty messy. But yeah, I was very touch and go for a while. And I was so excited for old school RuneScape. And then when I started playing it, I was kind of disappointed because I was like, oh, this isn't. It was a nostalgia thing. I'm playing it for the nostalgia and it wore off real quick. And then I was working construction at the time. I remember it so perfectly. This was like the time I got back into RuneScape. I was working in construction and I was like a laborer. So I'd go into houses and basically clean it up and prepare it for whatever trade was coming in next. And there was this one house that me and my partner were walking in, and he was playing League of Legends and so was I. So we were talking about League of Legends, and there was somebody who was doing the tiling, so like the bathroom tile. And he was a young guy, usually they're older, but he heard us talking about League of Legends and he was like, oh, you guys play video games? We're like, yeah, we do. We all stopped to have a cigarette. Then we were chatting and he was like, I've been playing old school RuneScape. And I was like, no shit, I used to play that game. And then he was talking about his account and stuff. And then it kind of got me the itch. And I was like, oh my God, I kind of want to play it now. And then he ate some spaghetti and he had an allergic reaction and his face swelled up and he left and I never saw him again. But I went home that night and I jumped on RuneScape, paid for membership right away, and I started playing it again. And that I never stopped. That was it. It like hooked me in. I started doing clue scrolls, and I think that's what it was. I started doing clue scrolls, and because I loved doing clue scrolls when I was a kid, and when I would get a clue scroll that I couldn't complete because there was a quest or there was a skill level I needed, that became my goal. And I just kept doing that. And I think it just helped me get my account to a place that I was having fun with it. And then I started the podcast because I couldn't find a RuneScape podcast. Again, I was in construction, so I listened to podcasts all the time. And I remember looking for a RuneScape podcast. And there was a few on YouTube, but they were just like, they weren't the type of podcast that I usually listen to. They were just kind of, I guess, more freeball. It was like clans that would like all meet up on a voice call and they would just shoot the shit. And
like Hexus used to have one.
It was the Hexus podcast that I'd listened to it and I was like, this is okay. But one, it's on YouTube. It's not on the podcast app. So my battery's dying like crazy.
Yeah.
And it's not really what I wanted.
It's not the same. That was Sick Nerd's clan. Hexus is a skilling clan for those of you who don't know.
Yeah. They're super into like the 200 mil.
You want to know a fun fact about that? So
sure.
they highly I know someone who's a Hexus general. They highly recommend if you're going for 200 mil all skills that first you do fletching. Any idea why, Dilz? Testing your knowledge here.
Oh, I feel like we need to have like the I was going to say Jeopardy, but I think the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire music would be better.
So let's just say you have infinite money. You're going to go for 200 mil all. So they suggest doing fletching because it hurts the wrist real bad, right? Like anyone's done fletching in a long session is like, my God, this hurts my wrist so badly. So what they do is they suggest you just get all the supplies for it and AHK it, which basically just means auto hotkeys, and just smash through 200 mil all in like a day. So do it at superhuman speeds and then tank the ban. Tank the 2-day ban, and then when you come back from your 2 days off, you have 200 mil fletching, and they won't remove it. Isn't that hilarious?
That is interesting and concerning that like the damage to the wrist could ruin your progress in the long term.
Yeah, so like if you don't want to do it, then I hate fletching. It hurts my wrist so badly. I still have 94.
It's because you're talking about like the dart tips where you spam click between the dart tips and feathers, right?
Exactly. So they're like anyways, I just thought that was when I heard that fact, tank the ban is one of my favorite things to say now. That's it's pretty funny. But yeah, they used to have a podcast, Hexus, right? So Sick Nerd, who is probably one of the best hardcores of all time, Hardcore Iron Man, used to stream old school. He's a big member of the community. These days, I think he plays RS3 or just other games. And he was on there for a while, and now I don't really know what he's up to.
Interesting. Yeah, I never knew why that podcast fell off, but
probably just spending time with Sophie, his wife.
Okay.
But anyways, that's just how he says it. So it's got quite the accent.
That's funny. But yeah, I started the podcast because I couldn't really find one that really did it for me, and then that's how I got sucked in. Not because of the podcast, but I was sucked in before that, and I was like obsessed. The first update that I remember kind of caring about and like reading discussions, it was like it was the Slayer bosses, so the Abyssal Sire, Cerberus. I think there was a third one. Maybe it was just those two. I can't remember, but so that I remember that was what was being pitched. But I was such a low level. There's no way I was going to be able to care about the bludgeon and all that sort of stuff. But I always kind of had like an identity crisis, I think, because for the longest time, I always wanted to play this game to be a PKer. That's kind of what drove me when I was younger. And I parked my defense at 70 and 75 defense. And I tried to go PKing, and it was expensive and I wasn't very good at it. It was fun, but I just couldn't do it long term. And then I remember I was like, I was stubborn. I was like, I'm not going to level my defense, because then once you level it, there's no going back. I'm throwing away my account. And then I was talking to my brother, and he said, you should level up your defense, because then you can start bossing. Because I was trying to boss, and I would just get smacked around like crazy. So he was just like, level up your defense, and then you can start bossing. I was like, but I really want to have an optimized PKing account. And then and this is what it convinced me. He said, the strongest PKing account is a maxed account. And I was like, shit, you're right. And then I decided to level up my defense, and it just enabled me to do more bossing, like actually do bossing, which I think I probably would have got burnt out if I didn't do that. So yeah, and I always feel like I had an identity crisis, because sometimes you probably hear it on the podcast. I feel like every 3 months I have some like new goal. Oh, I want to fashionscape, or going to get all the clue rewards. I think I really enjoy this game, and there's so much to do, and I want to do it all, but I don't have the time, or I get bored of it really easily. I'm really scatterbrained like that. But yeah, I don't know. And I'm kind of like you, where I like to have my one account being super pimped out. But as you know, I love having a bunch of different other accounts, because it's fun I like the freedom to bounce around. And going back to like Magic the Gathering, I had played it for a few months, I think. And I didn't get super deep into it, but over that time, I think I bought like 3 or 4 commander decks, mostly precons. But I would see just a new one that came out. I was like, oh, this style's really cool. Yeah. So it's something that I'm aware of, and I purposely like put barriers in my way to prevent me from going off the deep end. I've been playing this other card game, Flesh and Blood, and I have the same problem, but I decided to give myself a $50 budget, so it prevents me from, because if I have the freedom, I'll spend all of my extra money on stuff.
That's fair. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I used to do that when I started Magic, but like the more and more I've played, it's like kind of warped around my personality. Like you said, like I've only got like 5 or 6 decks, and I'll keep maybe 3 of them have been tuned over years and years, and then I'll slowly replace the old ones when I find myself not playing one. I'll start to browse out for a new deck, but it really has to like has to
Totally.
vibe with me to go for it. It takes a while. Like I looked at my purchase order history. Like I definitely buy cards, but it tends to be every like year I'll make like a big purchase of like a couple $100, or maybe every 8 months. Like there's quite a stretch between them. And usually half the time those purchases are just to upgrade the decks that I already have. Like I'm like, maybe I'll make a new deck, but then I always end up being like buying new cards to go in my old decks just to freshen them up or tune them up. But then my problem is some of my decks get so tuned that then they become unplayable because they're too strong.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah, like I finally I had this one deck, man, I loved it. It was this like basically you just play a whole bunch of spells, and it's called a spell slinger deck. So it's not really combat, it's more like combo related. And it just got more and more tuned over the years. Like I would buy the expensive counter spells, their force of wills and stuff. And then eventually it just became so insane. So it had like pretty mediocre commanders. And then it was just like an insane storm deck below the hood. It's like if you souped up like some shitty car and you look under the hood and it has like 350 horsepower. You know what I mean? You're like, okay.
Dodge vans.
Yeah, something like that. So that's what it ended up being. I'm like, man, I actually love this so much. But then again, like I sit down to play with people and they're like, oh, that looks fun. And then you just destroy them. And that gets pretty old pretty quickly. So I sometimes end up taking decks apart that fly too close to the sun.
You lose control of it. Yeah, that's funny. I can have I'm very impulsive, which is bad when you have lots of accounts. I spent like so much money this month on like in-game money. I bought like 4 bonds because every day I wanted to play one of my other accounts, and then I just anyways, but I'm in this auction. I'm in this Discord for that Flesh and Blood card game, and they have these auctions where they have one tonight actually, and they'll just auction cards off. And the idea is like it's fun for the seller, it's fun for everybody. The seller gets to get rid of all their cards in one shot, and you get to get a good deal on these cards because nobody's going to pay market value for them because you can just go to the store and do that. So everything's undervalued. Nice. But every time I bought a card from there, I friggin' merch myself because I pay 2 times what it's worth. It's like I'll spend like $10 on a card that's worth like $3, but I get excited. I want to win it.
Yeah, it's that rush of buying something. That's why people get addicted to shopping.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah, yikes. That's a whole different situation.
Indeed, it is.
We're deep in the rabbit hole in this episode. And this is the Old School RuneScape 10th anniversary, not what's wrong with our lives and the lives of other people.
And I think that on that note, we got to take a break and not take a break, but let's jump over to the news, get ourselves reined in a little bit. Well, first things first, let's just talk about the 10-year anniversary. Jagex did their little birthday party that they do every year, but this time they maybe added a little bit more goodies. Have you done the event?
I have, and I have to say, Dilz, first one I've liked in a while.
Oh, you enjoyed it. Okay. Well, I'll break it down. It's pretty simple. There's going to be some spoilers, so apologies. It starts in Lumbridge, and it's all about baking a cake, back to basics. But you're helping out one of the cook's assistants. You're helping one of the cook's literal assistants bake a cake, and you're running around talking to a few different characters in RuneScape, and then it is a glorious bake-off. And I wrote in my notes, I was going to say it is now canon that there's like a television channel or whatever. There's like TV for the people of RuneScape or Gielinor, whatever you want to call it, because they have this, they call it ScryNet, where people can scry in and watch the bake-off. And then I remembered that there's literal security cameras who caught the wise old man or whatever breaking into a bank. So nothing new going on there. But yeah, it's a little bit of a bake-off, and then it ends. Heartless, you said this one you really, really liked. What did you like about it?
Really, really liked it because it was 2 minutes.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, I liked its brevity.
That is fair.
That's why. It was easy. Didn't need to follow a guide. You just clicked on the people and did the thing and got your really, really cool rewards this time.
Yeah.
They were great.
I thought it was like average, I guess. But the rewards were cool. We got 10. Does it show us here? Do I have to go look? For the 10 years of RuneScape, we got 10 rewards from it. And some of them are pretty cool. One thing I will say is the rewards from these anniversary events tend to be like really fun. Oh, there's not 10. Oh, here it is. They just tend to be kind of fun. So you get a 10th birthday balloon cape. You get some slippers for Bob the Cat, or Jad slippers, which are the best for sure. You get a cake hat, a dragon candle dagger, gnome child backpack. You get a plushie that turns into the stray dog, gnome child, or Jad. Old school jumper, silver party hat. You get a party emote. And classically, you get 2 noted half full wine jugs. Do you know why? Do you know the whole half wine jugs story?
No, do you?
A little bit. I used to really be into like the discontinued items, but way back in like old school classic.
You want to fill me in on that story?
Oh yeah, because back in old school classic, you get your jugs of wine. You used to be able to pour half of it out into another jug, and you would have a half jug of wine. And for whatever reason, they just got rid of it one day. I guess they realized there's no reason to have a half jug of wine. We'll just make it one full jug and then you drink it all. But then they left all the remaining half jugs of wine in the game, and they were tradable. So they became like a really expensive item. So we always get a half full wine jug for stuff like this, because it's just kind of fun and it's a throwback. And the only way to get it is from these sorts of events. They're not worth anything because people know it's so you'll get them every year. They'll never be as expensive as they are in RS3, which, how much are they in RS3? According to so the wiki says they're worth 1.5 bill in RuneScape 3, which is like, divide that by 5. That's what it is in old school RuneScape money. Anyways, it's kind of fun. But yeah, fun event overall. And then of course, the part that I actually really like is in the basement of the party room. You can kind of go, they have 2 floors now. It used to, for the 5-year anniversary, they just had the 1 floor. I think it was the 5-year. And they just showed a bunch of the major updates that came out, and you could examine them, and it gave you a little bit of more context on the updates and when they were released. Now for the 10-year, we have a 2nd floor, which has all the updates from 5 years ago. So it's quite fun. But nothing special. These events aren't really super over the top or anything. They're pretty basic for the most part. I thought it was okay. It was a cute quest. That's about it. Anything else that stood out before we jump over to some of the other fun stuff to talk about?
No, I think that's it. We should dive through.
Oh, sweet. Honestly, there is not a whole lot to talk about. The other thing to mention really is there is the 12 annual Golden Gnome nominations are now open. So you can kind of vote on who you want to be. This is for This is basically for like RuneScape content creators or RuneScape creative types. Now, the main reason we're talking about this, because this is the 10th year in a row. No, that's not fair. Well, the 10th year in a row, we don't have a podcast category yet. We make a big fuss about this every year, and we still...
Well, originally it was just us. So, I mean, we could make that fuss. But now we got some competition. Now we got... who else is out there? We got Sebe, who thinks he's the only RuneScape podcast out there. Or maybe he thinks he's got the longest running one. But we own that one, Sebe.
And I reached out. I tried to get him on the show before. Nope, didn't make the cut.
Dude, he's too cool for us. He's too elite for us. We're not... Our Ironmen aren't high enough level for him. And then you got our boys over at XP Waste as well. Those guys do a fantastic job.
Yeah, I really like their show. They're so nice. Oh my goodness.
They are. That struck me. When I joined their Discord, they have such a nice clan, a nice environment. It was really, really touching. So
yeah, so you go check the show out if you need some more OSRS content. There's a bunch of them. There's a Lumbridge Lounge. There's a decent amount of podcasts that are still going, which is makes me happy because, again, as a big podcast listener, for years, even when this show was going, we'd see podcasts pop up. They would do a couple episodes and then they would vanish. I never knew what happened, but I always wondered. Around the same time that this show started, there was another podcast that started called the Ironscape Podcast. It was done by a few...
I know that clan.
Yeah, it's a clan or a community, or what is it? A clan or a community?
Yeah, it's both. It's
both.
kind of like
Okay.
us, right? We're a client and a community.
Fair. That's fair. But it was hosted by these three irons that were presumably in the clan. And it was only on YouTube. But for one of the episodes, like episode 30 or something, if you're going back to listen to it, you'll hear I brought the host on. We had a one-on-one. It was fun. And then they brought me onto their podcast as well. And I'm not an Iron Man, so it got awkward real quick when they found that out. I'm just kidding. You'll never hear it because the podcast just vanished one day, and the Twitters of all the hosts vanished. It's like they never happened. I never knew what happened, and I always wondered because.
Do you remember his name?
Toby.
Toby.
That's all I remember. Was Toby.
Toby. Must have been British.
No, it wasn't though.
Really?
It was Toby Fox because I remember he enjoyed the Undertale game and that was what the developer's name was. But ended up changing their name a bunch and then I don't know what happened to them. But they invited me onto their podcast and it was like a couple hours long, but for some reason it got to a part where I started doing something. They asked me a question, I started talking. They sped up the podcast for the rest of the show, but they sped it up so that you could not understand a single word that was being said. I never understood why that happened.
Yeah, I've heard of people that listen to us on like 1.5 or 2 times speed because I ain't got no time for that. That's
fair. I understand.
That's the quote. Like, fair enough. Like, if you think we talk too slowly, then I don't know. One of these days, I'm going to talk really fast. No, I don't know. But still, that's really strange. Mind you, like back in the day, maybe people didn't understand editing or maybe they just fucked up somehow. And then they're so embarrassed, they just left everything. Yeah. Just dipped. Huh.
Anyways, there's my point was there's a bunch of podcasts that would pop up and then they would just kind of disappear. And it was like kind of sad. She's like, oh, all right. But anyways, these days we've got a whole bunch of them. But yeah, no podcast category. So anyways, we can move on. Who cares about that? But what categories they do have is a lot tailored around streaming, video, and this one's really cool. The art category. Art, you see so many creative things coming out. But if you are if you have like a favorite YouTuber in mind and you want them to get some recognition for it, the Golden Gnomes is where you could nominate them and or vote for them. So it's best new RuneScape video, best old school RuneScape video, RS3 and OSRS, best RuneScape video creator, best old school RuneScape video creator, the RuneScape video of the year and the old school video of the year. And then of course streaming, so you can vote for your favorite new streamers or streamers of all times. And then the art category, best new artist, best artist in general, and then the best artistic creation, and then the best cosplay creation. And then lastly, this is chosen by the Jagex crew themselves, but they have the community award where they give it to somebody who, usually it's for someone who like did a really big charity event or they just did something very positive for the community, which is always, it's always nice. You know, RuneScapers, they give a lot. So very wholesome stuff. Do you have any content creators you would want to shout out? Like anything that like you've been watching lately that you're like, this guy needs to be shouted out, guy or girl?
To me, just the best editor in RuneScape ever is Guns Chili.
Oh,
I don't even think anyone comes close to him. If you've never checked out his videos, go and check them out. He used to do this series called In Debt for a Pet, and it is just one of my all-time favorite series. Just such a chill dude. He's very funny. He has great music choice. His editing is incredible, especially since he started getting into Blender. He's like really gotten out of control with it. And in a good way. Like the guy is very, very impressive.
Wow, that's great.
I used to shout out Solo Mission a lot because he has similar music taste to me, and he's got just a great sense of video editing as well and storytelling. But he's quite a bit more popular now. Most people should know of him just through like Gillinor Games or whatever. But yeah, those two are like always my favorite video makers as far as like high quality stuff goes.
I haven't watched Guns Chili since he won a award years and years ago. So I haven't watched his videos much since, but I guess I kind of have to because
he's top. It's so good.
Yeah, I'm curious to see.
It's so impressive. Obviously, Gilmore Games is like probably one of the most popular RuneScape series of all time at this point. Maybe Swampletics, maybe One Man Army from Bodhi. Those would be sort of the go-tos for maybe top 3. I can't really think of any more off the top of my head. I do watch a lot of RuneScape YouTube. It's just different. It just hits different. But obviously, Soup has been very generous. He won a Golden Gnome last year, and this year he just pulled himself out of the race. I thought that was a class move by Soup. He already knows he puts in so much work, and he gets so many content creators involved. He obviously has a great finished product. So I thought that was super respectful of him.
I think that's what I like about the Golden Gnomes. It shines a light on someone that you might not be aware of. So
just part of the reason why I want the podcasting one, because look, do I expect to win? No, not that large amount of people know who we are. Obviously our listeners do very clearly, but most people would probably just vote for Sebe or someone they've seen on YouTube, like Tasty's podcast, if you can call it that, of like all 8 of them yelling at each other. You know what I mean? Like they're going to vote for people they know, which is totally fair, but even just getting exposure would be pretty cool and open up. Maybe more people would want to get into it if there's like recognition available.
Yeah, and just like celebrating podcasts. If I had to shout out an RS creator, I think I don't really watch too many YouTube videos like of RS RuneScape creators these days, but there's one that I love, and it's RS Will Miss It. I love the style of videos. They're always so well done and so interesting, and he basically takes just it does a deep dive into different topics of like old school RuneScape. Or no, sorry, not old school, just RuneScape in general. So he has a video called Who Was the First RuneScape Player? And then it's 12 minutes of trying to find out who this first RuneScape player was. He's got a whole Falador Massacre documentary that's over an hour long. Yeah, anyways, I really enjoy his videos because they're just so well done. These are RuneScape's rarest even the RuneScape 3 videos, they're so interesting. And he kind of goes behind the scenes and talks about like, some of the out of game problems sometimes, or he has an episode on the largest forum scandal of RuneScape, and it dives into this person who just created all these issues for like forum moderators and stuff. So I really enjoy his videos. Definitely recommend checking them out if you need to watch more content. Heartless, I think we got through all the news. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we take a break?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
All right, let's take a quick break. All right, we're taking a quick little break and heading on over to the Grand Exchange. I need to speak quietly because the little one is sick and he's teething and he's not letting me get any sleep, but he's napping right now, which is good. I got time to record this. It is rough. Oh my goodness. He woke us up at 3:40 a.m. this morning. Just in absolute pain. We've been up ever since. And he's been napping all day. He started day. Anyways, it doesn't matter. We'll save it for the next episode. Guys, we're going to talk about how you can support this show. If that's something you've been wanting to do, maybe you're listening and you want to throw some money our way, I guess. Well, there's a few ways you can do that. Patreon.com/The Wilderness Podcast is one way you can sign up. You'll be able to listen into episodes live on Discord, and we post the raw audio afterwards, right after the recording. Sometimes it takes a little bit to edit it, but if you're on Patreon, you'll be able to get access. I think it's like basically the next day, however long it takes me to export and upload. So you can listen to the raw audio there. It is raw, but you know what? Sometimes stuff gets cut out. It's just the way it is. So you get to listen to the deleted scenes, but they're not very interesting. They're deleted for a reason. Patreon.com/The Wilderness Podcast. So thank you to Bronzion, Yulfi Ferric, Desasquatch, Strosity, P Jackals, Roland Wisdom, Mallard, Spalimo, The Kazi, and Yay Fiber. Thank you all so much for supporting the show. But that's our top tier supporters, but thank you to every other person who supports as well. You guys are all amazing, and we really do appreciate it. But hey, if Patreon's not your thing, but you still want to maybe send we call it a virtual coffee our way, but you can go to buymeacoffee.com/dills where you can make a one-time donation instead. So thank you to Michael R. Thank you so much for that coffee this week. But we got one third way you can support the show. We got a Discord server, discord.gg/thewilderness. And if you want to boost the server, send some love to the Discord server itself, you can do that. So thank you to Toddy, Battlestaffs, Chick, Hey Step Sis, aka No Step Bro, Cosmonaut, Lips, Rollin' Wisdom, and Twisted Ooh Woo. Thank you guys for that Discord boosting. All right, let's end this segment and get to the rest of the show. All right, we are back from our break. And of course, this is the perfect time to play some of the calls we got from last week. So let's start off with our first caller.
Hey Dilz, hey Heartless, this is Vin of Iron. I'm calling to tell you about RuneScape bleeding into my real life. So at the previous podcast, I didn't have a story to tell you, but in between that one and the most recent one, I went to the gym for the first time in a while, and I caught myself thinking, oh, I'm going to need to bring a Switch instead of a change of clothes. And so I think I officially have an addiction problem, maybe. All right, thanks guys. I'll see you in the next one.
Vin of Iron, thank you so much for the call. Keep at it at the gym. I'm wanting to start up as well. Heartless, I know you were getting into the gym. Did you end up keeping up with it?
Yeah, I still go.
Oh, nice. Do you think there's anything in RuneScape that like you find helps keep you going to the gym?
Oh, I mean, they're just similar, dude. The grind is similar, man. Like the small incremental gains. Hey, there's a reason that I think, what did you say? 2007 Scape Reddit has the largest crossover with like fitness or bodybuilding or something.
I know a lot of people in our community do a lot of working out. There are some like fit people there who are very into health and nutrition. I'm not sure if like a lot like in the fitness community, like you go to the gym and everyone's playing RuneScape. But there are some people that surprise you. There used to be in the community. I don't think so anymore. But if you are, shout out to Mr. Robert Whitaker. But UFC fighter, used to be a champion. Used to be an avid RuneScape player. And I mean, to be a UFC champion, you got to be kind of fit.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, you got to be ripped, man. Like,
yeah, we used to hang out on voice chat. It was very, it was very crazy.
It's interesting how that works, eh?
We were hanging on voice chat one day talking about what we do as a career, and he's like, "Oh, I'm a UFC fighter." I was like, "Oh
shit, no way! That's fucking crazy, dude. That's actually an insane story." Wasn't there also like a big strong man? I remember God of Thunder telling me about him.
Yeah.
Like he maxed his account and he had like a party with like a Bandos chest plate. He's like the strongest, like biggest lifter in the world or something. Some kind of world record holder. I'm not like big into that scene of sports, so. I can't remember what his name was, but I remember his face vividly. But he's like a big rip dude, and he does like, does big weights at the gym.
I thought I remember him posting on like Instagram, or maybe it was on Reddit, of him getting 99 strength.
Yeah, he also maxed his account. Like he's a grinder, so it makes sense that the two of them have a lot in common. So yeah, there's a lot of strong people out there in the community.
I need to get back into working out since moving to a new province. Kind of fell off, but that was one thing I noticed was the incremental gains. I'd started tracking it, so I'd check my weight. I was tracking what I was able to lift because I'd use the machine, so I'd always track what weight I was lifting. And then over the course of months, it felt really good. I'd look at the week average and just seeing my weight week after week going down by a pound or so every week. I was like, oh, hey, this is It's the incremental gains, like if you're trying to get 99 in a skill, I got 98 mining right now. I'll get like 100K mining a day, maybe if I'm AFKing. So it's like, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You just got to keep plugging away and you'll get there. Unless you're going for the 200s, then what'd you call it?
200 mil all. Tank the
You
ban.
tank the ban?
Tank the ban. Just go right for the steroids. Just kidding. Oh, it's funny.
Speaking of, God of Thunder wrote in, said, answering the question of the week about OSRS bleeding in my real life, I often found myself using the phrase best in slot during daily conversations with non-OSRS folk at work.
Yeah, it's BIS.
That's interesting. One thing I found myself doing, I said something and I had a coworker say, what does that mean? And I was in a bunch of back-to-back meetings all day, but I said I'm in B2B meetings all day. And they were like, what does that mean? And I was like, oh, back to back. And they were saying, oh, I've never heard of that before. I thought you meant like business to business. I was like, is that a RuneScape turn? I don't know if it is.
B2B, yeah, I think so. Same with I've definitely caught myself saying one ticked as well to or with my girlfriend in conversations. Just when someone does something fast, I'm like, oh, they one ticked that.
One ticked attention.
Oh, it's good.
That's hilarious. Oh boy.
Anyways,
okay,
shout out to Vin. Good luck with your switches.
Yep. Yeah. Good luck with the switches. We got another caller. Let's hear what they have to say.
Woody boys, it's the one and only. It's Maticos One calling this time not from my office. I'm actually calling from Vienna. I just moved here. It's my favorite city in the world, and I am so excited to be here. And that's why I'm about to tell you about something that I am so excited about in my history of playing RuneScape, which was actually the day of the 22nd of February 2013. I was laying in a hospital bed. I actually had some heart problems. I guess that was a decade ago. And my best friend calls me. I'd already been in there for a week, just totally depressed, feeling lonely. And my best friend calls me and he says, Matt, I have some awesome news for you. And I said, what? He says, old school RuneScape. They're bringing back RuneScape from 2007. I say, you gotta be fucking kidding me. How's that even? Oh, shoot, am I allowed to swear on a podcast? Anyway, oh crap, I have 12 seconds. Gotta hurry. And I said, wow, you gotta be kidding me. How's that even possible? And he sent me the link and I got to check it out. And oh my God, was that day one of the best days of my life. See you guys.
Maticos One, always very impressive. You really bring it right up to the end there. Very impressive stuff. Yeah, that's. I know a lot of people. It reminds me of a story. I used to work at this children. I don't know why it reminds me of the story, but it just does. I used to work at this children's indoor play place. It's like one of those indoor playgrounds, which, by the way, it was like disgusting. Kids would like freaking have diarrhea on the slide, and then kids would keep sliding down it, and you had to like get them to stop because I had to go clean it up. It was madness.
Yeah, it's not.
But I remember, I was reading the RuneScape novels, and I was like sitting at the desk at the end of the night. You know, things were wrapping up, and some families were coming in to. I think we had a birthday party, so it was always really quiet. Though I just had to sit there and help out. Like if anyone had any questions, or someone had to be there to monitor things. And I had my RuneScape book out, and I was reading through it. If you don't know, RuneScape's got like 3 novels. They're okay. They're not bad. And then I remember one of the dads came up and he was like, oh my God, dude, is that RuneScape? I just started playing because of mobile. And I was like, really? And he's like, dude, I used to play that when I was younger. I forgot all about it. When I found out mobile existed, it was like the best day ever. I was like, that's crazy. That's cool. Gosh, yeah. Anyways, Maticos One, thank you so much for calling in. I'm glad to hear things did get better, hopefully, and I hope you have a great time in Vienna. I don't know much about Vienna, but I have heard it is a very, very beautiful city. I don't know. Hopefully, travel one day. Heartless, have you ever done a lot? Did you do much traveling?
Not as much as I would have liked to, for sure.
Yeah,
but all my family lives in England.
Oh, true.
So
you go down there often?
Yeah, every like 4 years or so. They half of them live in Liverpool and half of them live in Cumbria.
Nice.
So we split it between the two. So I think we have quite a few British listeners. So Shout out to my Scousers out there. I'm pretty sure there's a guy who walks his dogs, and when I heard him we called in one day. I was like, dude, this sounds exactly like all my family with their Scouse accents. Like, what are you talking about there, mate? So my dad's a Scouser as well, so definitely hear that all the time. It's hilarious. Yeah, but no, not really. We usually, when I was a kid, we used to go to like France and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
We'd take like a little trip when we were going to England. We got to go to Venice. Yeah, so I've been lucky enough to travel in my youth. But obviously since COVID and stuff, I haven't really been able to get out as much.
Do all your traveling in RuneScape. I understand. Me too. I am going to be trying. So I had one of actually listening in right now. One of the supporters, shout out to Toddy, sent in a video teaching me how to drink tea because I was complaining about how bad tea was, and apparently I was doing it all wrong all these years. So I have a plan this weekend. Go get some Yorkshire tea. Maybe get some honey. This wasn't in the video, but I might go a little rogue and get some honey, try it out instead of sugar. And I'm going to try my darndest to make a good cup of tea.
Yeah, I have a brew of Yorkshire Gold decaf every morning.
Really?
I always drank decaf tea, which is kind of messed up. That's all my mom ever drank was Tetley decaf or Yorkshire Gold decaf. So therefore, that's all I've ever drank because it's all I really like the taste of.
Interesting. I've always been a coffee drinker. I will try it out and I'll report.
Not bad at all. Yeah, I'm a coffee guy too. Love coffee.
Yeah.
There are some real coffee nuts in the clan too. You love to see it. Sometimes you get people posting their like, what I don't know. I don't know a lot about coffee. I'm just a simple drip roast or Americano man. But some people come up with some crazy stuff and they post it in the Discord. I'm pretty jealous.
I think I'm a bit of a poser because I used to go all out with my teas, my coffees. I would get like, whole beans, and then I had like a $300 grinder I got.
Oh my god, yeah, you went in.
I went in, and it was good. It was pretty good. I used to, I even had an espresso maker and all this sort of stuff. And then the economy's hitting everyone right now.
It's so expensive, man. We can't afford these hobbies, Dilz.
We shelved all the coffee stuff, and I busted out the cheap, what is it? Folgers coffee from Costco. It's like $12.
Folgers. Oh yeah, I don't go Folgers. I don't go that low.
But here's the worst part. I've been drinking it and I'm like, this is actually pretty good.
Hey, you know what though? If you're happy, like good. That's part of the reason why I don't want to start. It's like starting an Ironman. Like I know if I start getting into coffee, I'm done. I'm just gonna go all in.
I think I'm a bit of a hipster though. I think I like the idea of these like unique blends and stuff, but when I have a Folgers, I'm like, yo, this is good. Why am I spending 5 times as much?
It's an old school Folgers, man.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So yeah, bit of a hipster there, but thanks everyone for calling in. Thank you so much. Call in, tell us your RuneScape stories. I didn't prepare a question of the week this week, but call in, tell us to your RuneScape's 10 years old. I don't know, call us and tell us your RuneScape stories, or tell us if there's a content creator you like. That's about it. I guess we need a song of the week. Oh no, we have to plug our stuff first. If you want to come hang out with the clan, it's wild in game. Our Discord is discord.gg/thewilderness. Our email is thewilderness.podcast@gmail.com. And our Twitter is @thewildernessRS. I think that's pretty much covering it. Anything from you, Heartless?
Dilz, it's that time of year again. Bingo, spring bingo coming back.
I feel like you need an air horn.
Yeah, you need like the conch horn, like the deep sea horn. Bingo is on its way back. It's a quick turnaround from the winter to the spring bingo. We are running March 24th to 31st. That's Friday to Friday. It's going to be a great time. Bingo is basically what it sounds. There's a big bingo board. You get thrown on a team with a lot of people, and you just try to complete tiles. And at the end of the week, the most points wins. It's simple. It's a lot of fun. It's a great way to make friends and get connected with the clan. I've met some of my best friends through bingo. I highly recommend it. No matter what level you are, there's things on there for like any level people, any level of player, any skill level. It's available to you. So it's not just for the end game PVMers. There's tons of skilling stuff. There's tons of clue scroll content. There's things for Iron Man. There's things for, I try to make it so, or the whole team does, that anyone can progress their account in a meaningful way through bingo, and make some great friends doing it. And, you know, if you've never been like 10 hours into a session and, you know, celebrated a Sears ring with a bunch of screaming people in a Discord chat, I highly recommend bingo. It's really fun. And even if you can't play, you know, big hours, you can just grind a couple hours. We try to balance those teams so everyone is a valuable member of each team.
Yeah, it's you do, like, I think you do most of the balancing. I know there's other people who are involved, but the last bingo, I was like I was traveling though, so I only got a little bit of time to play on my phone. And, you know, I know I'm saying this because I know other people have said it before, like they're worried, I can't really play that much. But on the forums, you can put, I'll probably play like an hour or two tops. And I didn't have to worry because the team was balanced enough out that they were able to carry me for the most part. But I could still jump in for like 45 minutes to an hour right before bed, when I was like kind of laying in bed in a motel because there's nothing else to do, and just shooting the shit with the team. It's fun. It's a really good excuse to do content that maybe you wouldn't usually do. Maybe you're a low level and you don't want to, you know, maybe you're a little nervous to try raiding or try God Wars, or maybe you're a high level and you don't do God Wars anymore.
We
but it's
prioritize taking learners. Like last time, there's a whole bunch of, we were doing a bunch of learner TOAs. We even did some big boy TOAs, as well as some like 425s. Like we did a mixture of content. It was so much fun, dude.
That's wicked. Yeah.
I have a fond memory of waking up after New Year's Eve, being still drunk at 6 a.m, running to the corner store to grab a Gatorade because I couldn't sleep. Still drunk. The boys were on. P. Jackals, Salazar, some of the fellas were still in the chat, and we were just doing some Wildy Slayer. And I was talking like I was rough. Man, it was a good time though. Good memories.
Oh boy. Good stuff. Well, that's exciting. We'll have more updates as the episodes, as we get closer to the date, and there'll be a forum to sign up. But if you want to stay up to date, Discord is the place to be. So yeah, go ahead and head over there. But we have to pick a song of the week. Well, let's do Museum Medley. This is a song that was unlocked during one of the RuneScape's birthdays. So yeah, very, very proper. It is a medley of various iconic music tracks such as Newbie Melody, Autumn Voyage, Barbarianism, Harmony, and Sea Shanty 2, of course. This song is 11 minutes long. It is the longest music track in the game. Whew. Yeah, thanks for listening. Heartless, this was fun.
It was. Take care.
Oh, we got a doozy for next episode too.
Oh,
see you guys then.
See ya.